All right, we're now recording. It's your meeting.
Sounds great. Good evening, everyone. It's about 7:33 on Monday, January 11th, and this is the Wilmette Park District Board of Park Commissioners. Before we call the regular meeting to order, we have some business to take care of related to the 2021 budget and appropriations public hearing. This will take just a couple, 3-4 minutes, and hopefully, and then we'll move on to the regular meeting. I'm going to read this to you so we get it right. This is something we do once a year, so it's not something that we're used to having. It's 7:33 and the public hearing is open for comments on the combined annual budget and appropriation of funds for the Wilmette Park District, Cook County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning on the first day of January 2021 and ending on the 31st day of December 2021. Notice of this public hearing was published on the Park District website. A link to the annual budget and appropriation of funds ordinance has also been published on the Park District website and available for public inspection at the administration offices of the Wilmette Park District at 1200 Wilmette Avenue since December 9th, 2020. All persons desiring to be heard will now have an opportunity to present written or oral testimony with respect to the 2021 proposed budget and appropriations ordinance. Steve, hold them back. I know there's lots of people there.
I will. Before we entertain those, I'll just give a little context to what this is. As it says in the director's report, the budget is our internal document that we use to guide operations towards our goals financially. The appropriations is a build off of the budget that is filed with Cook County, which sets our legal spending authority. Typically in a year, the differential between the two for all of our operating lines is 10%. So the appropriations ordinance is usually about 10% more than the budget, while capital spending is about 20% more than our budgeted amount. This year, given the uncertainty of the pandemic and not knowing when we'll be able to return to more robust operations, we did not want to shortchange our ability to meet community needs. So as discussed in financial planning meetings and as well at board meetings, we widened the differential between the budget and the appropriations amounts. The operating differential is 30% and the capital differential is 50%. This provides some flexibility for the board and the staff to adjust operations and adjust capital projects based on whatever the world throws our way over the next 12 months. And that is a little bit of background. Usually we open up the floor for commissioner testimony before we open it up to the public. So at this time, any commissioners who wish to say something, unmute yourself and go. I believe Commissioner Abbott already did that, so I'm going to ask him to go first.
Sure. So a little bit of context. So we are projecting, I think, $22 million budget this year versus normally about $27 million. So we're 20% off is our projection. That is another reason why we want to hold that the appropriations is so much higher. In case we have a relatively normal year, we want to be able to keep up with the demands. And so I think it's a prudent idea. I think 30% is the right number. Also, overall, taxes are going down. And it's just a comment. I love saying that. I think everybody here. And it's just because, we're paying off this debt and we pay it off rapidly. So yes, people will see a reduction in their tax rate with regard to our overall revenues. So,
great, thank you. Any other commissioners wish to comment at this time? All right, seeing none, this is where we allow for members of the public to comment on the budget and appropriations ordinance. Instead of going around, this tends to not be a topic that a lot of people comment on. So I'm going to trust everyone to unmute themselves if they wish to speak at this point. So anyone from the public wish to speak? Great, Commissioner Anderson, back to you.
All right, well, hearing no further comments or questions regarding the combined annual budget and appropriation of funds for the Wilmette Park District, I declare the public hearing closed. All right, on to the regular meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners. Could we do a call to order, please?
Actually, can I get you to do a formal motion, second, and roll call to adjourn the
Oh.
public hearing?
Okay, it wasn't on my script, sorry.
Sorry.
So move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Great. Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch,
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes,
All right, now the public hearing is adjourned. Thank you.
okay, all right, thank you. All right, moving on to the regular meeting. We'll do a roll call vote, or roll call.
Yeah,
call
gotta follow all the procedures, even though we
Yep.
know we're all here. Commissioner Abbott,
I'm here, yes.
Commissioner Murdoch,
I'm also here.
Commissioner Schisler,
Present.
Commissioner Clark,
Here.
Commissioner Wolf,
Here.
Commissioner Goebel,
Here.
Commissioner Anderson.
Here,
You have a quorum.
excellent. Well, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First one up is the November 11th Committee of the Whole minutes. Anybody have any questions, comments, edits, changes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we get a second?
I
Thank you.
second.
Now you can take comments. If there are, but I don't sound like there are.
All right. Steve, I had sent a bunch of comments on the minutes. Did those get incorporated or were there responses?
I know that Libby did incorporate them into a version, but I don't believe those were recirculated. None of them were significant changes, more cleaning up than anything. So no material changes to the minutes.
Are we okay approving with those minor changes then?
If the rest of the board is comfortable with it, yes, I'm comfortable with it.
I have them here. I pulled them up just,
You want to run through 'em?
sure. One of the discussion
minutes and stuff like that.
was on the review of the projects and capital expenditures, changing the bottom line to projected reserves, never drop below the fund balance target was one of them. And then money added for the net replacement. We added that it was the year 2023. So those
Okay,
are
good.
2 comments for those.
I have one question. I
Yep.
thought I didn't. On page 2 at the very top, it says, with the roofing project added back to the list, the capital budget now totals approximately 0.47 million. Did we misplace a decimal?
We did.
Okay.
We will make that change. Thank you. Good catch.
Just for clarity, it's supposed to be 4.7, not 0.47.
I believe so. Yep. So do we want to take a vote on this or table it till next month when everyone can see the edits?
I think if you just mention the edits again real quick, Steve, I think we can probably just approve it without going out to next month.
Sure. Libby, go ahead. You're muted.
First one was on page 3, was following the discussion of the capital projects. We changed that in the model that the word bottom line was changed to projected reserve, never drops below 4 million. And on page 4, added the words additional money was added to the net replacement for the year 2023. So that year was added, and I didn't hear what page Commissioner Abbott's was on.
Page 2, top of page 2.
Second line.
Yep, okay, 4.7 million.
Great.
I could vote.
Also, sorry, on page 6, there was discussion in the second paragraph about 2020, 2021, 2022. I think there's in that first line, there's a reference to moving an expenditure to 2022 when I think was intended to be 2021. So if you look at the last line, it explains what I think the first line should have indicated.
Which
We're
paragraph?
talking about the second paragraph on that page.
Second paragraph on page 6, right?
Yeah.
We've got
So in
that?
the first sentence that concludes with 2022, that really should be 2021. That's correct. Agreed.
Correct.
I'm not sure what page that is. I don't have a page.
Page 3 of 4 of the minutes,
Oh.
page 6 of the packet.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, a roll call vote. Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch,
I was muted, yes, sorry.
Commissioner Schisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
All right. Next up is the December 9th, 2020 Committee of the Whole minutes. Motion to approve, please.
I'll move to approve the minutes of December, I don't know. No.
December 9th.
December 9th.
I'll second.
I'm good.
Any questions, comments, edits, changes?
No.
I have your comments, Commissioner Anderson.
Mhm.
On page 1, we added a bullet point including that says a projected 2.95 million in debt payments.
Mhm.
On page 3 of 4, the last sentence, no changes were made to the proposed fees. That was regarding the discussion on the lakefront fees.
Yep.
And on the page 3 of 4 and the conclusion, added under Commissioner Anderson's comments, removed the minus and added excluding property taxes. And then projections showed an aggressive 50% increase.
Yes.
And then just some grammar points.
Nothing major.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, edits?
I'm comfortable approving as noted if we want to go to a vote.
That would be my preference.
All right, vote it is. Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch,
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Moving right along, we're on to the December 14th regular meeting minutes. Could I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments, edits, changes? Hearing none?
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch,
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Excellent. Okay, last of the minutes is the December 18th special board meeting. Could I get a motion to approve?
So
I'll
moved.
move. Second.
Thank you. Again, any questions, comments, edits, changes?
I have a lot of changes on this one.
I was really wanting to discuss the details of this meeting. Did we break 5 minutes in this particular special meeting? I'm not sure. It looks accurate and complete to me.
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Wasn't there either. Should I abstain or should I? How was it?
It was fast.
There you go.
That
Just
was the
for
review of the
people
voucher
listening in.
list for those who weren't there. Yeah.
This was just a meeting to approve the voucher list.
Yes.
All right, let's move on with the vote.
Commissioner Abbott,
Well, hearing no other objections, I will vote yes, but I wasn't there.
Commissioner Murdoch,
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf,
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Excellent. Moving on to communications and correspondence. There was a mix of stuff. Steve, you got anything that we didn't get before the meeting?
Not specific for the full board. I've been passing along to the full board emails that have come in over the weekend or even up to about the start of the Parks and Recreation Committee in regards to items that were on the Parks and Recreation Committee agenda, but no
Okay.
other emails that I have.
All right.
We did receive an email that was referenced in the Parks and Recreation Committee that probably is more intended for the full board that came in over the weekend regarding kind of board structure, community input structure, things of that nature, which both yourself, Commissioner Anderson, and Commissioner Murdoch have responded to. And I believe Commissioner Wolf did as well.
Had to do with the recommendations to look at commissions for each of the parks. So,
Correct.
yeah. Okay. All right. How about moving on to public comment and recognition of visitors? Just as a preamble to that, we have, outside of this part of the agenda, there should be no public comment coming through. So I would ask you not to try and jump in later on in the meeting. We will shut off the chat feature so that there are not those distractions going on outside the meeting, outside this part of the meeting as well. So thank you.
Great. With that said, I'll go around the screen, call on anyone who's not a board member or staff member. Remember, you have 3 minutes to make your comments. If you do not wish to make comments, just simply unmute yourself and let us know you're here to listen. So going across the screen and down the rows, the first name I see is Allie Frazier.
Hello, everyone. Here to listen and learn. Thank you, Steve.
Great. Thank you. Next, I see Michael Doyle.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everybody. Just here to listen. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Next, I see Andrew Levy.
Good evening. Andrew Levy, 1025 Seneca Road. I was wondering if the either staff or board have had discussions with any other organizations or entities that are responsible for getting vaccines out to the community, and whether any of the facilities for the Park District have been offered to be made available in order to coordinate that effort.
I have, just real quickly, I'll summarize. It's very early in that discussion process. The village is obviously taking the lead on that with the county, who's charged with the responsibility for our community. And I know that when we last discussed late last week, there had been no determinations on anything, but know that between the schools, the village, the Park District, the library, everyone's in communication under kind of the leadership of the village manager for Wilmette.
Great.
Thank you for the question.
All right, next on the screen, I see Walter Keats.
Just watching, listening. Thanks.
Thank you. Next on the screen, Mark Schumacher.
Good evening. Here to listen. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Next, Kara Kozlaskis.
Good evening. I'm observing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I see, all right, Ellen, we did this wrong the first time we did this. I'm going to try and get your last name right. Ellen Caicedo.
Oh, that's wonderful, Steve.
Awesome.
You did it.
Thank you.
It took my dad like 20 years to learn to spell my last name. I'm listening. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks
Thank
so much
you.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next, I see Rich DeLeo.
Here to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I see a box just titled iPhone. All right, moving on. Next, I see Patrick Duffy.
Just observing and listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last, I see Gary Knight.
Hi, just listening. Thanks.
Thank you. And that concludes public comment.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the voucher list.
Yes,
Can I
I move to approve the voucher list in the amount of $4,245,980.64, a copy of which is to be attached to and become a permanent part of the meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the voucher list?
I just had one question about the NSSRA expenditure for the Highland Park renovation. I know that that's a multi-year process. I'm just wondering, is this the extent of our commitment to that facility, or are there additional obligations? It's a great facility. I'm fully supported. I'm just trying to understand the finances.
Yes, that's our final payment to them. They've been extremely successful in their fundraising, and also extremely successful in being included in the state of Illinois' capital spending bills. So there is a possibility that if those spending bills do come to life, that money will be returned to us in the future. But with the state of Illinois, there have been plenty of people who have been included, had projects included in spending bills that don't see the money for nearly a decade later. So we couldn't just sit and wait as the property is already under construction. So, but that is our final payment.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Eagle Eye observers might notice that this voucher list amount is different than some of the prior months that we've had, and that the bond principal and interest is being paid. Steve, would you just comment on that for the good of the larger group?
Sure. So we have multiple bond issuances outstanding from prior years, and with any bond issuance similar to any of our mortgages, there's a repayment schedule. The repayment of bonds typically are structured, and I'm not exactly sure why, but they're typically structured where there is a payment in June that is interest only, and then 2 payments in December per bond issue, one being an interest portion, one being a principal portion. So what you're seeing in this voucher list are the payments for outstanding bonds, repaying bonds, paying down bonds that were made in December.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, is it fair to say that the voucher list is always a month in arrears?
Correct.
Okay. So we're approving things that have already been spent.
Correct.
Okay. The only reason I made that point is because I didn't know that after 6 years until about 2 months ago. So it was news to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Questions, or are we ready for a roll call?
I hope we're ready for roll call.
All right. Commissioner Abbott?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf?
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
The voucher list is approved.
Excellent. Moving on to Executive Director Wilson's report.
Great. The vast majority of my written report relates to the budget and appropriations ordinance. So we've already covered the public hearing. The only other piece is under future business on this agenda, we actually need to approve the ordinance for it. So that's coming up on your agenda. Also in my report, just commenting that our ballot is set for the upcoming consolidated election in April. We have 9 candidates seeking 3 seats. So we look forward to learning more about the candidates through the League of Women Voter Forums, through media questionnaires, and through other discussions and other avenues. And we wish everybody the best of luck as April comes about. The one thing I do want to update the board on compared to my written report is the Gilson comprehensive plan. I did have a phone call this afternoon with the consultants to go over their proposed schedule and methods for gathering public input. So our plan at this point, pending board feedback tonight, is to host 2 days of individual stakeholder meetings. When I say stakeholders, we mean sailing beach members, dog beach members, the Coast Guard station, the people that are right there, the water treatment plant, Michigan Shores, neighbors on Michigan Avenue. We're going to reach out to everybody this week, send them invites to attend virtual meetings and give feedback, input, ask questions, things of that nature. So that's, again, the 20th and 21st. Those are going to be by way of invite. They're going to be virtual, and those invites will be going out later this week. This is a pretty standard process that consultants engage in. Then the following week, the days of the 27th and the 28th in the evening, they're going to hold virtual open houses where people will be able to come see presentations, see materials, provide feedbacks, answer questions and polls for them to gauge sentiment throughout the process. As a follow-up to all of that, or actually as a lead into all of that, our marketing department has created a framework for a specific web page for the project, and we'll be working with our consultants to populate and structure that website more. So with their input and their guidance, because they do project websites all the time. And so we'll have all this meeting information out there as well. Any meetings that we record, we'll put the video up there. We'll put all the meeting materials that have been reviewed already to date, and any future meeting materials will go on that website as well. We understand that during this pandemic, receiving public input is more challenging than it otherwise would be, and that we're trying to do everything virtually and online, which is not everybody's desired way of giving input. So I asked them to create a set of boards and displays and kind of like a suggestion box concept that we can put into one or more of our facilities to allow, although our reduced foot traffic, our foot traffic an opportunity to see the information and provide feedback. So we're working on a multiple avenues of getting information out and feedback back in. And that is the information on Gilson. So I'm going to pause there to see if there's any questions, comments, concerns from any of the board members. Great, nailed it. Moving on.
Before Steve, I'm sorry, before you move on real quick, just the dates again are January 20th and 21st and January 27th and 28th.
Correct. 20th and 21st are going to be direct invites to various stakeholder groups, including regulatory bodies. I forgot to mention that originally. I wanted to include that, that we want to engage with to talk about permitting issues, land ownership issues, any of that. And then the 27th and 28th are just your more public, free form, kind of like one of these meetings where everyone's invited and it's for everybody to provide input. So 20th, 21st, invite, 27th, 28th, open to the full public.
Okay, and those are daytime for the invites on the 21st?
The 20th and 21st will be daytime. Yeah, each group, I think, is allotted an hour time frame.
Okay, and who else will be invited into those meetings besides the stakeholders?
The consultants will be there.
What about the
Any
board?
board members?
Board members are more than welcome to observe. If the board members start engaging, though, we will have an Open Meetings Act violation on our hands. So silent observers would be the requirement.
Thank you. That's all we ask for.
You have better ways to spend your day.
Not anymore.
I know. I said that just for you, our newly retired commissioner.
Yeah, and soon to retired commissioner too.
That's true. That's true. All
okay.
right. And the only other thing in my report is just you do have another order of business on the agenda ahead of you. Surplus property, as you all know, it's a requirement that when we are disposing of any property that the board needs to approve of it. These are pitching machines. They're not large pieces of equipment, but they are pieces of equipment that we will sell on a website called GovDeals that a lot of units of government put old equipment on in an auction format.
Steve, is there some kind of minimum level below which we can avoid going through this process? I mean, these don't seem like they're big enough that it should be going through this.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the way the state statute is written.
Okay, all right. Okay, moving on to committee reports. We got the Lakefront Committee, Commissioner Abbott.
Yes, Lakefront Committee met last Monday night. There was community. We got more correspondence with regard to a request for Frisbee golf or disc golf at Gilson. We did most of our discussion, or most of the meeting revolved around the shoreline protection proposal. Various commissioners have given their comments on the proposal that was submitted by the Smith Group. I won't go into those. I can answer any questions I'm not going to go into the details here. Steve received our comments and is to go back to the Smith group with them. I think the commissioners that did comment were pretty well in agreement of what their concerns were and what they were asking for. Other than that, we've, as Steve says, we didn't really go into the Lakota programming notes, but all the commissioners have now commented on it, and Steve is processing that. I greatly appreciate it. I got excited all over again, just sort of typing up my comments, which I'm sure I got a little verbose, but anyway, I do hope that we can get somewhere before we're gonna be losing a lot of experience here on the board soon, 2 or 3 commissioners. So I do hope that we can, kind of get somewhere before that happens. But I thought there was a really good, set of programming notes. Made me very excited. Manager's report, still looking for a new lakefront manager. Otherwise, it's been quiet down at the lakefront, as you can imagine. And our next meeting is on February 1st. And I trust that we got all the issues. And if there are any questions or if I missed something, let me know.
Hearing none, why don't we move on to Parks and Rec, Commissioner Murdoch.
Parks and Rec met earlier this evening. I will be very brief because most commissioners were on the Zoom and because allegedly there's a football game going on. In staff report, they commented on how they're trying to make the facilities available to the residents, conforming to all the current rules. So there's one-on-one basketball, singles tennis, some individual training in hockey, and skills training for women hockey. So we're trying to make the facilities available as best we can. We also discussed the community play fields amenities. We're in a holding pattern on bathrooms because we're waiting to hear from District 39 and would very much like to hear back from them on the potential use of a facility in their building. And staff has given us some more information about potential path options. We had a brief conversation about garden plots, about dog parks, and about doing a community needs assessment. And that's my report. Are there any questions?
Short and sweet.
I just want to pass on my support for the dog park proposals. I know that you haven't made any decisions yet, but I think it's a terrific idea. And I walk, as I've told you, I've walked at Malincrot, which is very popular with dog walkers, and a certain number are off leashes. And I think that there's a need in the community for owners who can responsibly let their dogs run. So I'm glad you guys are looking into that.
Yeah, the committee expects that there will be a park in the west end. There's obviously already one in the east end, and then we're focused on 2 locations for the middle of the village, either Howard Park or Malincrot Park. Thanks.
All right, moving on to golf operations, Commissioner Wolf.
Actually, golf operations did not meet last month. The golf course is still closed for winter. And I don't think we've had enough snow to do any grooming for cross-country skiing yet. So if we get some more, hopefully that'll take place. But right now the golf course is just laying dormant.
Steve, could you just give us a quick update as to where we are with the cart path?
Sure. The contractor, unfortunately, didn't make as much headway as I think I would prefer at the outset of the project. And now that we are into December and January, their traditional practice, which was unbeknownst to me, is to lay everybody off until the weather turns back on in spring. So we are in the background working with them to get commitments to hit it strong when the weather breaks, either mid-February or March, to get it done as quickly in spring as possible, because obviously a construction project on a golf course is disruptive, and we're trying to get it buttoned up as soon in the season as possible so we can return the course to normal operations, because we saw last year just how much golf was sought after during the pandemic. So we want to try our best to meet the community's needs and give them a good product as soon as possible.
Thank you. Anything else for Commissioner Wolf? All right, moving on to Financial Planning and Policy Committee. Commissioner Goebel.
Yes, the Financial Planning and Policy Committee did not meet in December. Our next meeting is Tuesday, January 18th. We're going to cover a few things of note, including the unaudited financial statement for the year, some capital targeted completion dates. We will also look at some of the policy and planning items that have been proposed in recent correspondence, and continue making progress on some of our policy reviews. So that will be next Tuesday in lieu of our typical Monday time because of the Martin Luther King holiday.
Thank you. Anything else for Commissioner Goebel? All right, moving on to unfinished business. We've got the Gilson Park Master Plan. I'm not sure if Commissioner Abbott or Executive Director Wilson are going to be leading that discussion.
I believe I've said what I have to offer for this discussion, and we just wanted to keep this here as a placeholder in case there was any further discussion. But like Commissioner Abbott pointed out, I sought everybody's comments based on the presentation we all saw last month. I've received those all back. I'm going to package those comments up and get them to the consultants as well as everybody on the board so everyone can see those comments.
Yeah, and Steve and I talked about, like, I think it's premature for a roundtable discussion on all these everybody's comments. So, you know, we could spend an hour talking about each one of these or several, because I'm on the conversation. But I don't think it's time yet. So I think we can move on, unless there's anybody else who wants to say anything.
Steve, I'm assuming the meetings on the 27th and 28th are evening meetings?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. If there's nothing else on the Gilson Park Master Plan, let's move to new business, the very exciting task of looking at a couple ordinances. Who would like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-0-1?
So moved. I won't remember.
Yep.
I'll second.
Can we get a second? Thank you.
I'll second.
Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, let's have a vote.
Great. And just for clarification, this is an ordinance making a combined annual budget and appropriation of funds for the Wilmette Park District for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2021. Commissioner Abbott.
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf.
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
The ordinance is approved.
All right. Okay, next item on new business is the surplus property ordinance. Can we get a motion to approve ordinance 2021-0-2?
I'll give it a shot. I move to approve ordinance 2021-0-2, an ordinance authorizing the sale or disposal of certain surplus property owned by the Wilmette Park District in Cook County, Illinois.
I'll second.
Thank you. This is not a big one, so any questions, comments, edits, etc.?
No.
I didn't think so.
All right, roll
Hearing
call
none.
vote. Commissioner Abbott.
Yep. Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf.
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
The ordinance is approved.
Excellent. Okay. Well, the final item on the agenda is adjournment. Could I get a motion to adjourn and a second, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Steve, would we have a vote?
Commissioner Abbott.
Did you call my name?
I did.
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Yes.
Commissioner Schisler.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Wolf.
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
That
Thank you.
concludes the meeting. We are
Thank you
adjourned.
very much. Thanks,
Roll
everybody.
Tide. Oh.